So I hope that's all right. Okay, so our agenda for today, after we go through our welcome and introductions, we'll have a presentation about AfriConEU, which is the umbrella project under which this event is being held. We'll also then have a presentation from my colleague, Stav Barshani, exploring gender barriers using systems thinking. This is a topic that's very close to our hearts at ATBN, and we're very excited to share our knowledge and learnings with you. Then we'll have a panel discussion, and joining us in the panel discussion, we have Janat, who leads a female-focused hub in Ghana, who will be giving us that perspective of the work they're doing, addressing these gender barriers, and just giving us that perspective from Ghana as well. And we'll have open up for questions and have closing remarks. I just want to say that these sessions, we are really about peer learning. We are sharing what we know from our work, and we want to learn from you as well. So please interact, use the chat, share your own examples. Feel free to type in the chat, or if you'd like to speak, put your hand up and we'll invite you to unmute your microphone and contribute. But while you're not speaking, I kindly ask that we all have our microphones on mute to avoid any background and disruptions. I'm going to also just spend a couple of minutes quickly introducing, welcome introduction, introducing ATBN, which is the organization that is organizing this under AfriConEU. So who are we? We are a social impact organization. We're based out of London, but our goal is to enable inclusive digital transformation in Africa, particularly around building synergies between Africa and the globe, with a particular focus on Europe, because that's where we are. And we work around 3 areas of work. If I get the next slide, please. So our areas of work are gender lens innovation. And so today's topic is really very core to some of the work we do. We design programs and we provide specific expertise around gender inclusion within the digital economy. We also focus on building innovation ecosystems. So really for us, we see innovation is driven not only by having smart, talented entrepreneurs and innovators, by having the right support and systems to support them and their innovations and businesses to thrive. And lastly, we focus on trans-continental partnerships. So we are about, like I mentioned, creating, facilitating and creating collaborations across Europe, Africa, and the globe. The next slide, you'll see we've partnered with a number of organizations across Europe and Africa, and we are proud of the fact that collaboration is really at the heart and the core of what we do. And myself, I've been Eunice. I am Eunice Bagumabo. I'm one of the directors, and I lead our digital and gender inclusion work. So that's us. And next, I'm going to invite Anna to do a quick presentation about AfriConEU.
Thank you, Eunice. I will share my screen. But before, hi, I'm Anna. I'm here on behalf of Inova Mais, that is the project coordinator of the AfriConEU project, in which these academy events are included. I would also like to invite all of you to please switch on your cameras. This is a very cozy and good environment for us to talk. As Eunice already said, this is supposed to be a peer-to-peer learning process. Also, type in the chat if you already had the opportunity to participate in any of our other events. I can tell you that I was also present on our masterclass last week that was also focused on gender lens finance. So if you were there, please let us know, type in the chat, while I begin the presentation of the AfriConEU projects. So in case you didn't know, AfriConEU is a project that is funded under the European Union's Horizon 2020 Research and Innovation Program that started in February 2021 and will last until January 2024. The project was designed essentially to reinforce the collaboration between Africa and Europe on equal footing, which has been proved to be critical for accelerating the digital transformation and contribute to the sustainable economic growth of both continents. Essentially, What we set out to achieve with the project when we designed it was to create the first transcontinental networking academy to support both African and European digital innovation hubs in many fronts, from capacity building, knowledge sharing, networking, collaboration, etc. As you can see, this is quite ambitious goals, but I can tell you that until now we are achieving, and we are able to produce all these events for you, all these activities for you, but you will see in a few slides ahead exactly what I'm talking about. Before you can have a look at the organizations that partake in our consortium, as you can see, AfriConEU is being implemented by 11 partners. 5 from European countries and 4 from African ones that are actually the ones that are being targeted in our project, which are Nigeria, Uganda, Tanzania, and Ghana. If you want to know more about all of the AfriConEU partners, you can always go to our website. We have everything there, but I can already tell you that besides the geographical representation that you see here, we have also a broad type of organizations which complement all the consortium competences. Our project is divided into 5 distinct and interlinked phases. So we already completed phase 1, where we designed and implemented research activities to develop a deep understanding of the targeted innovation ecosystems in Africa, as well as their needs and challenges. And then in phase 2, we developed the AfriConEU Academy by building upon the research outcomes of these activities of phase 1. These 2 phases comprise essentially the first year of our project. They are already completed, and we are now in phase 3 that is dedicated to the rollout implementation of the AfriConEU Academy sub-programs, in which this webinar is actually included. So this will last for a period of more or less 2 years. And then in phase 4, all the processes and results of the activities will be monitored and assessed to advocate to the uptake of the project outcomes by all the stakeholders from the innovation, education, business ecosystems, etc. Phase 5 is just spans the whole project, and it comprises essentially the dissemination, awareness raising, communication, and exploitation activities of our project. But what is the AfriConEU Networking Academy? Since AfriConEU intends to facilitate and empower the digital innovation ecosystem in Africa, we created 2 flagship programs, one that is more focused in capacity building and another more focused on the trans-continental partnership development. So the capacity building flagship program is divided into 4 thematics that were identified as areas of main interest and relevance by the participants of our research activities in phase 1 and 2. So they are, as you can see here, business development models and multi-actor approach, technology transfer of innovative technologies, startups, financial support, and digital and entrepreneurial skills development. For each of them, we designed 5 webinars, 3 local workshops in the African countries, and 2 online master classes that already started in May. And then today you are here in one of the webinars. Right. Okay. Concerning the Transcontinental Partnership Development Program, the same happened. So we conducted desk research, organized co-creation workshops, so that we could understand how our program could better fit the needs of the targeted audience, and came up also with 4 thematics. So first one, towards a common digital market and a connected startup ecosystem, digitalization jobs for the 21st century and employment opportunities, business and investment opportunities in the African market, and last but not least, scouting digital entrepreneurs and startups in the African market. So we will have an international brokerage event still this year that will occur in Italy. We will also have 4 boot camps, one in each one of the African countries, but this more towards 2023. And then we will have a capitalization event at the end of our project, where we hope to gather all the AfriConEU community. Here you can see the Networking Academy calendar. We already had some events in May and June, but as you can see, we have lots of things prepared for you all until the end of the year, but also in 2023. Okay, all the webinars and masterclasses are held in an online format, but the local workshops and the Trans-Continental Partnership Program events are held in physical formats with online transmission usually, so you can always keep up. Basically, you don't the only thing that you need to attend our events is basically to register. Our academy activities are free. As you can see here in this mini video, it's quite simple. You can go to our website, you find out all the information regarding our events, and you have always there the registration button that it's quite intuitive. So I just want to invite you all to please join the AfriConEU family. You will not regret, and I believe that after this webinar, you will be eager to participate in our next events. So this is the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for your time. If you want to be aware of all our events and activities, please follow us on social media. We are right now live covering this event on Twitter, so go there, show us some support. Also subscribe to our newsletter if you haven't done it yet, and you can always reach our website to know what opportunities we have for you. So I hope you enjoy this webinar. I will pass the word back to Eunice and hope to see you in the next Academy events.
Thank you very much, Anna, for that introduction. And before I welcome staff to do her presentation, I just want to echo what Anna has said about, the AfriConEU and these events are really a part of a whole. So we're really about building the capacity of ecosystem actors, hub leaders to be more effective catalysts for inclusion, for innovation within the ecosystems. I think there's a lot of stuff out there supporting entrepreneurs and startups, and there's not enough really focused on the people who are supporting them. And particularly creating this EU-Africa community where we can all learn lessons from each other and local opportunities for our startups and innovators on both sides. So I'm really excited to be a part of this today, and I think we're in for a treat. Allow me to introduce and welcome my colleague and my friend Staff, who is currently in Tel Aviv, she's going to present to us today about exploring gender barriers using systems thinking. Now, she's a bit of an expert on this, so trying to summarize this in 15, 20 minutes is going to be a challenge, but she has a lot to share, and I always, every time I listen to staff speak, I learn something, so I hope that it will really set us off for a much deeper and constructive peer learning discussion after this. Staff, welcome.
Hey, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Eunice and Anna, and I really look forward to this presentation. And I think, as Eunice and Anna said, we are kind of in an intimate group, so let this be as interactive as you want. So I kind of welcome any comments in the chat, live questions. If I say something not clear, please stop me. If I talk too fast, please stop me as well. So as Eunice mentioned, our presentation today is on gender lens innovation, building inclusive ecosystem. And in the next 15 minutes or so, I will try to do three things. One is to kind of give you a broad perspective, including some statistics on the gender gap. Second is to introduce the concept very kind of in a very, let's say, only to open the door to the concept of system thinking. And then to provide some example from our work at ATBN of how we implemented system thinking in our gender work. We hope this will inspire your work and again, kind of kick off a discussion of how we can use system thinking to solve some of the challenges in gender gaps. So just a few words about me. I work in the social innovation space for 14 years, kind of thinking about innovation in finance, programs, technology to solve challenges in international development, education, and gender inclusion. Used to be based in the UK, now based in Israel. I'm a director at ATBN since 2016, specifically focused on impact, social finance, and now system change work. I'm also a lecturer at Haifa and the Hebrew University here in Israel, and very much looking forward to connecting with all of you via LinkedIn and in our future webinars as well. So just kind of to start and to give us an idea of what we're talking about when we say the gender gap. So here's a few things to think about. 327 million fewer women than men have smartphone and can access the mobile internet. So when we talk about gap, the first things we see from this statistics is that women, in a very basic thing, today we even call it human right, digital human right, women have less access to digital technology than men. Women are underrepresented in ICT jobs, and men are 4 times more likely than women to be ICT specialists. So this is not only an issue of technology and access, it's also an issue of job markets and the ability to be a leader in the digital field. Women-owned startups receive 23 less funding and are 30% less likely to have positive exit compared to male. So again, we have access to technology, we have the ability to be a leader, a professional leader in the field, and we also see that women receive less funding. Obviously, the gender gap in digital ecosystems is not an African or sub-Saharan African issue, it's a worldwide issue. In more advanced or less advanced digital economies, we see that very systematically women are left behind. So I'm going to it's a bit of a, let's say, academic term, but before we jump into the terms of system thinking, I want us to understand what a system is. So the formal definition is a system is a set of related components that work together in a particular environment to perform whatever function are required to achieve a system objective. Now, this sounds very complicated, but let's look at a digital ecosystem. A digital ecosystem has different components, so what we call different actors, right? We have the entrepreneurs, we have the investors, we have the hubs, we have academia, we have some more technical components like internet or computer. All of these are components within the digital system. And there's different kind of relationships between them, between the investment to the entrepreneur, to the hub, to the educator, and so on. And you can say that the digital ecosystem, one of the objectives is to achieve economic development. So this is just one example, but if you kind of look into the world of system, you can say that the world is made out of systems. Families are systems, companies are systems, all of them have different components, what we call actors. They have relationships and they want to achieve a certain goal. This is kind of the mindset when we start thinking about system. You know, kind of in our modern days, we're very much used to looking at problem in a Microsoft kind of, to look at a very detailed. But when you look at system, you're trying to look at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is the philosophy behind it is everything is connected. You don't have a digital ecosystem without investors, without entrepreneurs, without hubs. All of it is needed to perform the system, and all of it is connected. And specifically, system thinking is an approach that says that to tackle root causes of problem, you need to identify and... Hello, anyone has a question?
No, I think just somebody just joined us and they're probably not muted.
Ah, okay. To tackle root causes of a problem, we need to identify and create shifts in the system that are responsible for the problem. So usually we identify, if you can see here on the left, the picture of the iceberg, we can see some kind of a problem. We only see the edge of it. But system thinking allows us to really look at the root causes of a problem, to dive deep and to come up with solutions to those problems. And I'll give a few examples for it to be a bit more clear. So as you said, in ATBN, one of our 3 pillars of work is digital gender gap. And we spend a lot of time kind of investigating and thinking about root causes of this gap. And we found 3 kind of very main root causes. One is around culture, the second is around structural factors, and the third is about ecosystem. So just to give a few examples, it kind of correlates with the stats that, that I gave before. Cultural factors, things like gender norms, stereotype, gender bias. We see that there's a very strong belief that STEM field is masculine, is men. And this is not something that happens later in life. This is kind of very rooted in childhood and youth. And as you can see here, at 15 years of age, on average, only 0.5 of girls wish to become ICT professional compared to 5% of men. So there's something about our culture, about our norms that kind of says ICT digital is men, it's not women. So one of the root causes is starting, we can see that it starts in a very, very, very young age, this definition. The other one is around structural and institutional factors. Current legal system leads to lack of collateral and high interest rate affects women access to loans. So as we saw before, women today receive much less investment than men. But some legal structures actually make it a very systematic issue. If, for example, in some countries, women can inherit by law, and so they'll have much less a possibility to have collateral or to be able to raise investment. And so we see that, again, under this stats, the root cause of it is some of our institutional factors and some of the laws that are in place. And lastly, ecosystem factors. Only 8 or 10 in senior investment professionals are women. 70% of senior investment teams are composed of only men. So if we look at an investment ecosystem, for example, and we see that it's mainly composed of men are, that's a human being kind of character. We like to invest in what we know. So men invest in men. So the entire ecosystem is already built in a very biased way. So this is some of the root causes that we and ATBN identify that sits under the digital gender gap that we see usually in statistics. So that was a bit depressing, but we kind of, we don't want to leave it in that. We found out in ATBN that kind of analyzing problems with system thinking actually enables you to later on bring a system change perception to develop systematic and structural solutions to the problem, and to come up with solutions that are long-term and that tackle the root causes, not only what we see above, but actually the real problems, the deep problems of what we see. And I'm going to take you through our journey from that. As I said, I've been involved with ATBN since 2016, and since now our thinking around how we can contribute to decrease the gender gap has evolved, and I'm going to show you kind of our thinking, and would love to later on kind of see if this resonates, if you feel this and our approach is kind of effective to the problems that we identified. So one of the first problems we at ATBN identified is that female entrepreneurs lack skills, support networks, and access to investment to succeed in tech space. So as we saw before, it's an ecosystem problem. Female have less access to networks, to investment, and to skills, and we wanted to solve that. Our way to solve that was to build a new incubation program called Her Future Africa, which is an early stage startup incubation program for African female entrepreneurs. And in this program, we were able to offer skills, support, networks, connection to investment, and so on. It was highly impactful program. The first cohort was in Ghana. We worked with 32 female entrepreneurs. Some of them went to launch on their digital businesses. However, we did feel that this actually targets very specific women, 32 women. We were able to impact their life, but we weren't able to change the system that kind of prevents them from gaining those skills and supports and network. We were able to help their 32, but we weren't able to change the system. And when we looked deeper, we said, why only 32? Why don't we see more female entrepreneurs kind of leading or thinking about a career in the digital space? And when we started asking that question and talking to more women, we understood that one of the problems is the lack of visible role models. This is what's limiting the pipeline for African women into tech and entrepreneurship. So if you remember before, at the age of 15, only 0.5% of girls or of women youth want to get into tech. I mean, they look around, they don't see they don't see African women in tech, and we want to change that. We produced a book called Founding Women, a book who spotlights African female tech entrepreneurs as role models. And until today, we roll out this book in different programs. We want to inspire as many girls, youth, and women to show them, to give them case studies to show that this is possible. So we felt this goes a bit deeper into our root cause of why women are not part of the tech ecosystem. We want to say here, you can succeed, you can follow the role models. But then we said, this is great, but this only impacts the individual, still impacts the individual entrepreneurs. The question is, if a woman already has the skills, already has the motivation to be part of the digital ecosystem, can the ecosystem support her? Do we have enough actors in place? Is the system, those investors, those hubs, the academia, are they there? Are they able to support more women entrepreneurs? So kind of evolving our thought, we went and we looked and we actually saw that the digital gender divide in Africa is growing. This is based on a research done by the UN in 2021. And we saw that actors that are working to bridge the digital gender divide, like ourselves, are disconnected, under-resourced, and this limits the potential to create the system change. Everyone kind of works, separately, again, impacting a few women entrepreneurs, kind of doing their thing, but nobody is working together. So our solution was to establish CODE, the Coalition for Digital Equality, a network that is connecting African digital ecosystem stakeholders to develop effective solutions to address the digital gender gap. We started we're kind of connecting both academic research with practitioners. As Eunice said, in all of our work in ATBN, we connected actors across the UK and Europe with actors around Africa, and we did some research, knowledge sharing, profile raising. So really, really working in the ecosystem level, not to only empower entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, but to empower the entire ecosystem to be able to support those female entrepreneurs much more effectively. So just before we finish, I know this was a lot for 15 minutes, but kind of for those of you who are interested, I really welcome you to either look at our website, we have some more materials there, or to just do kind of your own research. But our goal here was to do some kind of an introduction to system thinking, that way of thinking that makes you think about how things are connected, and to try and understand problem by identifying the root causes. And I kind of try to take you through our journey in ATBN of how system thinking kind of evolved and changed our programs and solutions, hopefully to inspire you to kind of think how you can implement some system thinking tools and approaches to your work. I would love for any questions, specific questions or discussions, or to hear kind of from people here on your work. You feel how your work is contributing to system change. So I don't know, Eunice, if you want to do it now, or should we leave it for the Q&A after the panel? So kind of open either way.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone has, so first of all, thank you for that. I thought that was a really, really good and great summary. Opening the door, like you said, to thinking about systems. Does anyone have specific questions? I think we can have 5 minutes of specific questions, or if people want a bit of time to sort of think about that, we could start the Q&A and people can chip in. But I hope there will be anyone with a question. You want to type in chat, or do you want to sort of comment? You could even be saying, I thought this was really new to me, or this is something we've seen as well. So any sort of thoughts, comments, questions for staff? Okay, so please, again, the chat box is open, it's safe. I know some people, you may not be in a good environment maybe to speak up, but please try to use the chat. So if you want to ask a question, do not hesitate. But as we think of questions and as we let them come in, I also wanted to ask, I mean, a lot of us here are leading hubs and things, if you could type in your chat, you know, what's an initiative that you're doing in your organization around gender inclusion. So maybe say, you know, I'm from this hub in this country, and we have this program doing that, just to hear what kind of stuff is out there. And that would really help us see who's there, and maybe also bring you in as I facilitate the panel discussion. So please, if you have a women gender inclusion focused initiative, please do type in the chat and tell us a bit about it. Thank you, Gideon, for that. Actually, Gideon has a question. He's asking, how can other support organizations adopt systems thinking? What's the best way to start? You've opened the door for us, staff, but how do we take it to the next step? What's your advice?
So hi Gideon, always great to see you. So my advice would be to start from taking the time, and I mean, this is also a matter of resources and ability, but to take the time and really try to understand in depth the problem we want to solve. And the way that I like to do it is just simply asking why. So for example, if you lead a hub and you see we only have 10 female entrepreneurs, 10%, okay, why? Okay, so for example, the question can be why? Because in our city, the hub is located in a place that it's hard to access with public transport, and most women use public transport. Okay, why is that? So to to try and understand what barriers exist in the work that you do that prevents women to participate. So that's a very it's a very small thing to do, but I think a lot of us tend to go to action. Let's do a program, let's intervene, let's give money, let's give support. And I say, let's wait, let's ask why, let's take the time, let's talk to women, let's try to understand the in-depth core roots of what prevents our work to be more effective towards women. So this might not be a very kind of, let's say, sexy, innovative answer, but I think, again, understanding the problem and asking why is the first step.
And you've said before, like, you need to ask why. Is it, 3 times or 4 times you go back? So you say, okay, we are far away, so why, and then if is it the time of day, then why, or do they need permission from home? You can just keep going, you ask
to go
why.
More in depth and more in depth.
Keep asking why. Up to what is it? Is it 3 times or 4 times? Like
the model is actually 5 times.
5 times.
Keep asking why to get into the root cause.
Yeah, great.
I think we have another comment in the chat, Eunice.
Yeah, this is Philippa, who is with Hyperspace also, and they have a program called Code for Girls, where they teach young girls to code, and this helps to bridge the gender gap in programming in the coding ecosystem. So a challenge for you and a question for you, obviously you're tackling the idea like the skills gap. So it would be great to hear from you, Filipina, as well. Like, how have you evolved in this thinking? What made you think about specifically targeting skills, for example, and how does that connect to other work? I know that's a long question, so feel free to jump in on the discussion if that's easy for you. But otherwise, we can also continue in the chat. There is another comment from Ruth, who is leading Kenya Climate Innovation Center in Nairobi, which is an incubator accelerator. They have women, they're coming up. Sorry, go on. Do you want to jump in?
Yeah,
much easier.
Yes, I want to.
Great, thank you.
Okay. So with regards to the Code for Girls program, we realized that I'm sure it's not just in Ghana and just in Africa, but worldwide, that the number of females in the coding or programming world is relatively, small compared to the number of males. So with our program, Code for Girls, it's enabling young girls to learn. So we're changing the narrative that girls can also be programmers. Girls can also learn to code. So at that young age, if they are able to learn or, have an interest in programming, then as they grow, that divide or gap we'll be able to, get closer and closer over time. So that's the whole concept. And so we target really young girls for that program.
And do you find it easy to attract or to get the girls to join, or is there any challenges around that? Because, do they see the coding program and say, yes, that's for me, I want to join? Or have you evolved or learned things along the way on how to improve that? Gideon, I see your hand up. Are you joining into?
Yeah, probably I can answer that for her. Yeah, there has been challenges. Traditionally, the parents even think that computer science is not for girls. And so initially when we began, there was that opposition because this was done after school hours. And they felt like if you are extending their learning, it shouldn't be computer science. So what we did was to first kind of orient the parents as to the possibilities. So now we brought in female computer scientists to actually do the teaching. So now they had role models to look up to, because we realized that using the men to teach the young girls, yeah, it wasn't working because, of course, then they were still observing the gap. It's the men who can teach. But as soon as we started using females to do the teaching, people loved it. And I think that the female teachers could relate more to the concerns of these younger females, and that made it better.
Gideon, I want to relate to something you said about the parents, because this is something that actually came up in code in the academy that we were doing. And it also relates to the why. When we start asking the question, why do we see less women? One of the answers why the parents don't send their girls, they send their boys. So then we realized, oh, okay, instead of doing education program for the girls themselves, we actually need to target the parents. And this is how system thinking kind of can evolve your thinking and your program design. And I think that's a very, very crucial point. If you want to work with more women, you need to target their system, their families, their education, and so on.
Absolutely. I was just going to say, I thought Gideon, that example has really showcased what system thinking can allow you to do, right? So you said we have to target the parents. We also need to think about when they're in class. We've fought the battle of getting them in class. Now they're in a class with a male teacher, and they're not having that role model, or they're not able to maybe feel free to ask certain questions or relate. So you're tackling that. So it's really thinking about that. It's not just to say, oh, we have a coding class for girls. We have to think about getting them there. We have to think about them succeeding when they're there. And then we have to think about after they leave, right? That is system thinking. So thank you so much, Gideon and Filipina, for sharing that. Magda, you have your hand up.
Yes, hello, thank you. Very interesting presentation, thank you very much. I wanted to share where we just got approval for a program. It's called Women STEM Up. And it's for higher education. It's for Europe, but all the stereotypes you mentioned as part of the system, they all apply to Europe, all of them. And I wanted to add that I think teachers and professors are part of this system. And that's another group that we need to target. Parents, that's also problematic. And where I come from, Greece, we're based in Greece, and parents are not supportive to girls going into tech. But I also found from our research that professors and teachers, there's not representation in computer science, so girls are not encouraged, especially in higher education. So our new project will be focusing on that, on breaking stereotypes, on training professors and how to actually teach without using stereotypical language in order to encourage girls to work in technology. That's my 2 cents. That's what I wanted to share. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Magda. We have 2 comments. Ruth from the Climate Action Hub in Kenya. Would you like to speak up and share a bit more?
I think it's Belinda and Kiko who
there's Kiko. There's
Kiko
as well. Kiko, you mentioned that you have a full 50% sponsorship for female co-founders to participate in your program, and you've also put in place that requirement for people to have gender equal teams to participate. It would be interesting to think about why you came up with a scholarship, how you thought about, maybe some of the economic challenges for women to participate. I don't know if you're able to unmute and speak and just share about the thought process around, you know, creating this scholarship and also putting the requirement for female co-founders.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is Kiko from Tautic. Yeah, so our program, yeah, there are many challenges, but one of the challenges actually for female participation has been with regards to financing in participating in these programs. Yeah, but also this sends a message that their involvement is important. That's why we are encouraging. So in all our programs, we emphasize the participation of women, but also in our ecosystem, like female has been kind of lagging behind in terms of when you organize events, the number of women who are showing up as compared to number of men who have been showing up has been like lower, although right now it's changing. For instance, for the previous 2 events we run, actually we had more women than men. That was very encouraging. So we are doing that to encourage more women to participate. But also in terms of the co-founders. So we need like our post program, it involves a formation of teams. So each team of which maximum is a team of 3 people. So we encourage each team in order to be eligible, it must have at least 1 female co-founder, and that also to make sure like female are really participating, because we have female who have great potentials, but men think like they can just side them, they can sideline them if there is no condition that they must have a female co-founder. So we are doing that to encourage participation of women in all our entrepreneurial projects we support.
Thank you, Kiko, and thank you to everyone who's shared in the chat. We need to move on just because of time, but I encourage you to read the chat, the intro, you know, there's a few programs in there that people have put in, Belinda's and Ruth sends her apologies, she's not able to speak. But do go on and let's continue with the chat as well. It's also a platform for us to sort of share knowledge and our learnings from each other. But just so we need to move on with the program, I want to invite to the digital stage our guest speaker for today, Janat, if we could have her spotlighted. Janat is the founder and CEO of One Hive in Ghana, which is a female-focused hub. And she's also a big actor in the Ghanaian space, working as a gender inclusion lead for the Ghana Hubs Network. And I'd love to invite Janat to tell us a bit about the work that she's doing at One Hive, what inspired her to set it up, and you know, sort of lessons and learnings from within the Ghanaian ecosystem in terms of addressing some of the barriers we have talked about today. Janat, are you there?
Hi, Eunice.
Hello.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for the introduction. I don't know if it's okay to have my video off because of my internet connectivity.
Yeah, absolutely, that's fine.
Okay, thank you so much. And hello to everyone. I'm always excited when I get the chance to have conversations about gender inclusion, most especially in entrepreneurship and technology development, because we find ourselves in a location where I was years back.
Hello, I have a question.
Sorry, could you just hold on can you hold that thought, and then we'll take it on when we're finished with Janat's introduction, if that's all right. Thank you.
Okay, perfect.
All right, thank you. I hope I can proceed.
Yes, please.
Okay, so as I was saying, we find ourselves in a location where technology, or I'll say digital skills, was not really appreciated in the past years due to lack of accessibility and also appreciation for technology. So in the year 2017, One Hive Ghana was established under the name Women Advocacy Network. And during that period, we were just focusing on advocating for increased participation of women into leadership. So our focus was on tertiary institutions and the women on those campuses, how we could motivate and empower them to be interested in leadership. So we had partnerships and collaborations with a lot of stakeholders in the region, including the National Youth Authority, the Ministry of Gender, and other stakeholders who were interested in the works that we were doing. Fast forward 2020, we thought about it and realized that, okay, so we've been supporting women, we've been providing the mentorship to them, we've been guiding them, we have a platform, a strong community that we've been engaging them consistently. However, can we do more? You know, can we create a space where women can freely walk in, can share their ideas, can innovate, can create something that could be beneficial to themselves and the society at large? So we had a very wide discussions with the team, and we decided to come up with One Hybrid Ghana, and that is an innovation space that will be dedicated to support young women and girls with entrepreneurship and digital skills. And since the upgrade in the organization, there's been a lot of success stories. There's been a lot of positive feedback from the trainings and engagement that we've been doing. In the past years, the feedback from women in entrepreneurship and technology was not that encouraging. And at a point, we realized that, okay, since they are only interested in vocational skills, since they are only interested in agri, then why don't we continue to do those trainings and those engagements with them? Then another part of us, you know, made us realize that, okay, is it that they've not really had that experience of utilizing digital tools, or they've not really assessed those technologies to drive their interest, or to even give them a reason to be interested in technology or digital skills. So we decided to start engaging students. So we started from the tertiary institutions again, and we started organizing programs for them in technology and also digital skills. And at this stage, it was just engagement with them to know whether they will ever be interested in such technology-oriented programs. What are the challenges, or what are the reasons? What are the reasons why they are not even, participating in technology programs? And we had a lot of issues, and I think staff has really mentioned a lot of them. Stereotypes is one, and also them believing that technology is actually a difficult, field for women to thrive. So they've really seen men thriving in technology, men creating, men innovating, men bringing out new things every day in technology, but you see less women really participating in that stuff or that area, and it became a challenge to them. So in their mind, they thought that it is something, or it is an area that they can never excel. So instead of technology, they would choose arts. Instead of technology, they would just choose either marketing or other business-related programs. So the innovation space became available to them, and we started running a program known as the STEM, High School Girls Go for STEM, and also Tech for Girls. So these programs are to sensitize the young women and girls in the Bunu region who are interested in technology. So we started from the junior high schools, where we first had a general assessment. We got to have interactions with the teachers there, and we wanted to know the level of ICT training that they've done so far for them, because in Ghana here, ICT training is a compulsory program for all schools, all students. However, the training is mostly theoretical. So there are less laptops or computers for the students to practice during school hours and also after school hours. So we had to get this assessment to enable us to know the level that the students are on. And based on that assessment, we will be able to know how to start with them and where to get what. So when we started this engagement, we realized that it's not just about the interest, it's about accessibility, it's about resources, and it's about infrastructure, because every child would like to hold their phone and fidget the phone, create something with the phone, have fun with the phone, same as a laptop or computer. But if they do not have access to these gadgets, that means automatically they do not have a feel of how these gadgets could either make them happy or could make them productive. So they do not have interest at all. But if they are able to access these gadgets, if they're able to use them, then their interest will be driven as time goes on. So one of the things that we really paid attention to was our program design. So we first make sure that we understand the target group that we are engaging. So if we are engaging people that we know have no basics in digital skills or even technology or how to handle the computer, then we know that during our training, we have to start tackling the basics of ICT. We have to start tackling how they can even switch off a laptop or a computer, how they can copy and paste, so the basics in IT before we can carry them forward. Then also the delivery of our content is one thing that we pay particular attention to, because it's a women world, it's women that we are looking forward to empower, to include in our programs, to drive their interest. So you do not want to design programs that will look like it's so difficult for them to do, something that is out of their interest. So for example, if it's a software training that we are having for women, how can we use the things that women are so interested in to teach them or to train them? For example, we have softwares that can project fashion and also how to make up. So if we are training them in software design or even website development, why don't we fuse in fashion, maybe the things that they are interested in that could drive their interest in what we are teaching them, and we take time to train them. Some are fast learners, some are not. So in your program design, you make sure that after the assessment, you'll be able to get those who already have the skills, those who are beginners, and those who are already there. So you know that you are just adding a few training to better what they already have. Then you like to also understand the expectations of the target group, the people that you are training. So what is their expectation? Sometimes the things that you think are opportunities for them are not really opportunities that they need. So you cannot assume that because I am engaging students or because I am engaging community members, this will interest them, or this is what they're expecting, or this will be a great opportunity for them. You have to engage them to be able to understand the expectations that these target group want to get from the program that you're doing, and also your channel of engagement. So we have a strong community network. We have a community of entrepreneurs, community of ladies in tech. We have a community of students. We have community of agripreneurs. So all these communities, we have WhatsApp group created for them. So when we are engaging agripreneurs, we know the do's and don'ts. We know what they are interested in. We know what they want us to talk about and what they do not expect us to talk about. If we are engaging entrepreneurs, and under the entrepreneurs, we have fashion designers, we have artisans, a lot of them. So if you are engaging those entrepreneurs too, we know their expectations, we know what they want, what they do not want, we know what works for them. And at the same time, we engage those who do not have strong educational background. So if you're engaging those people too, you have a level that you engage them. You do not engage them using so many grammars or things that will not be understandable for them. You use a language that they could easily interpret, or a language that they could easily understand. So what are the channels that you are engaging them on? Some will prefer that during their coaching service, you could make a call to understand what they are going through. Some are okay with just having Zoom meetings with them. Some are okay with just WhatsApp chat. So how do you engage your target group or your community members for them to feel included? And the quality of training is also very important. You do not want a trainee or a community member to come and sit for a training, and at the end of the day, they feel like they've wasted their time. And to be able to provide the quality training, you need to understand their expectation and whatever that they want. And one thing that has also helped us in our journey is building strong partnerships. So in our partnership, we have divided that into 3. We have partnerships that helps us to get our beneficiaries. So when we are running programs, we know that we need to engage community leaders. Depending on the community that we are having the engagement, we need to engage women-led groups. We need to engage the churches. So you engage all these leaders, you have interactions with them for them to also understand the program you are about to do. And these leaders will help you get access to the beneficiaries. Then we have partnership that helps us to create solutions for the problems that we want to tackle. So One Hive Ghana, we are known for supporting young women and girls in entrepreneurship and technology development. We have other hubs that are doing different things, that have experts in different soft skills, and also we have to partner with them in case we need their support to implement or carry out a project. Then we have to also engage them, bring them on board, so that we could both collaborate and make the program a success. And also partnerships that could create opportunities for beneficiaries. So when we organize our programs and we do trainings for the women, we are looking at the long term. You do not want to have a program, a training for 3 weeks for women, and at the end of the training, they ask themselves, what are they using the skills for? They do not get anything. And sometimes if they are not able to get anything better out of the training or after the training, they are likely to even go into a worse form before you met them. That is if you do not give them any opportunity. So we have partnership opportunities with private agencies and other organizations that are willing to offer internship opportunities for our ladies after our training program. And throughout our partnership programs, we have worked with a lot of partners in Ghana and also across. We have worked with MDF Africa, Ghana Tech Lab, and all of our trainings are focused on digital skills training. Recently, we had a program for SME, small, micro, and medium scale enterprises in Ghana. And most of these women are not educated. Most of them are excelling in their businesses. However, they are not operating with digital tools. They are not using digital means of operations. And before we began this program, I was a bit reluctant because I was thinking that, okay, so digital skills is English And digital skills, you need to know how to, use your phone to create this or to create that. You need to use your phone to communicate to your customers on social media and all of that. So these women, how are they going to be able to understand and appreciate what these digital tools could do for their business growth? So I was just a bit pessimistic about the move, but we still carried out the project anyways. And during our engagement, one thing that we realized again was that it's not about the interest, it's about, the education and accessibility. When people are able to access the things that they think are not accessible to them, their interest grew in that area. So during our engagement, we had a lot of women who are using smartphones, but the highest or the best thing they were doing with their phone was just WhatsApping. So we had to tell them, or we had to train them on how they can even use just WhatsApp to promote their businesses, how they can use Facebook to reach out to more customers, how they can take nice pictures of their products and post online for people to get attracted and purchase their products. And at the beginning stage, they were a bit reluctant and they were like, oh, this training is for our daughters. This training is for the girls who are educated. We cannot do this, but we insisted that they should try and do it. And at the end of the training, they were all excited. Some of them created content that we checked and even marked them, and it was so excellent. Women that have zero educational background, they just have a smartphone and they were able to do this with our support and what we were able to do for them. One last thing that I will say One Hive Ghana has helped us in our journey of social impact is our focus on sustainability. Sustainability is key to the progress of every organization and also the progress to your community members and the target groups that you are working with. If you do not have sustainable programs, you are likely to lose out on the people that you engage frequently. So if you design a program or a project, you should have a sustainability plan in the project. So after the week's training, after the week's engagement, what is next? So for us here at One Hive Ghana, we have a huge space that welcomes women entrepreneurs, innovators, whoever that is, ready to come and use our space. We are always available, and with the support of the National Youth Authority, we have laptops available that women can just hop in and use the laptops to create whatever content that they want to create, to design whatever software that they want to design, or to learn anything that they want to learn at the safe space. And we have made sure that this space is always safe for the women. And for that matter, we have a policy that binds both the employees of One Hive Ghana and also the trainees that we engage consistently. So you are not supposed to engage in any acts that will be offensive to the trainees, and as well as the trainees engaging in any acts that will hurt any of our employees. So we have created that space purposely for them. And after our programs, we make sure that it's either we are helping you to create a business or to create something out of the skills that you garnered, or we link you to the partners that we work with for you to get an internship opportunity. And if you are able to deliver during your period of intention, then it's likely that you'll be employed there. So these are some of the things that we've been doing at One Hive Ghana here in Ghana. Yes, and honestly, yes.
Thank you very much for that, Janet. I've been taking notes, and I just wanted to kind of highlight for me, 3 critical things that you've said that sort of tie in with what we're talking about today, which is you thinking about the systems and in having sort of that systems thinking approach as we design solutions. And so the first thing that you kept repeating quite in different examples was the idea that the ecosystem needs to go to women. I think there is a lot of our approaches thinking about get women into tech, right? Like get, and that's great. We have to bring them into the tech field, but I think also we need to think about tech going to women, right? So we are operating in the system where already women have been, or girls have been socialized towards certain subjects, certain sectors, or they already have specific interests. That's not a bad thing. You are saying maybe fashion, or they're in vocational or in things. And the fact that, or maybe they haven't received the highest level of education, but we can make tech relevant for them. So I think that was such a key thing for me, for us to take away. That is, we don't only have to think about bringing women into the existing tech with focused on, say, fintech or wherever, and that's also another challenge, right? That's where a lot of the money is. We need to think about how do we make tech relevant for where women are, the businesses that are leading, the micro businesses in the sectors that they are in today. I think the other thing you said that really resonated was women-centered design. A lot of what you are talking about was designing your programs around the women, thinking about when they're in the space, thinking about what opportunities are they going to go to after the program, really thinking about the whole journey of getting them in, making sure they have value when they're there, and thinking about when they leave. So I think that also sort of, kind of reinforced what we had from Gideon and Filipina from their program as well. And the last thing for me that stuck out was the collaboration. When you talked about your partnerships, you can't do it without partnerships, both from getting in the pipeline, supporting them, and even opportunities after. So I thought there was just a lot in there. I thought it'd be worth sort of highlighting. I don't know, Stav, if you also want to sort of comment or just share, just try and link it with what we've been discussing today around systems.
Yeah, that was very interesting and a great summary. I think I want to give one more example from our work in Her Future Africa. And when we did our impact assessment of the program, we realized, and actually that happened in Ghana as well, one of the things that came out is that we were able to reach women that did not attend other programs before. Because one of the things that you see is that women actually tend to attend the same programs, right? Incubations, accelerators. And our program, the women that participated did not attend any other digital entrepreneurship program. And we started asking why, because that's interesting, right? Because we were able to get to women that were not part of the digital ecosystem, which is exactly what we wanted. And what we discovered is that the way we marketed, the way we did our marketing campaign to attract the women had a completely different language than other ones. So we did not put digital in the front, because as we saw in the different statistics that we shared before, women tend not to see themselves as ICT professional, and digital is kind of is considered to be more masculine. But when we highlighted the business sense and actually more talked about digital tools, then more females feel comfortable to come forward and apply to the program. So I think the language we use is really important if, as Yunus said, if we want to enable digital ecosystem to go to women. So we need to think about how we market, how we speak to women, and how we attract them to feel comfortable in those spaces.
Yeah, and we've had so much good stuff here today that we are running a bit short on time, but we certainly want to make sure we have time for questions and discussions from you as well.
Hello.
Yes, Janat.
Yeah, sorry to catch you. I think I didn't have the opportunity to talk a little bit about the Ghana Hubs Network. So if you would permit, maybe I could do that now or later.
I think, yeah, let's just conclude this discussion and open, because I'm just conscious of time, and I also want to make sure we hear a bit from the audience as well. I'm keen to hear particularly how, we've talked, some of the issues we've talked about, our learnings, the ecosystem going to women, or even just sharing as we conclude, because I think we have about 15 minutes left now. What in this discussion, I summarized my 3 key learnings from Janat's excellent presentation of their work. but I'm keen to hear from other people what from this discussion has stuck out for you. Are you taking away maybe what has surprised you? Or again, if you want to share some from your work. There were a few people earlier who shared in the chat. Maybe I could also give you the opportunity to speak. Who was it? There was somebody else from Ghana. Was it Alberta? Would you like to say something? Or anyone else would like to chip in or share their own experience or what they've learned today? Yeah, all right. So if there is no anyone speaking up, then I'll end with the audience Q&A with this challenge for you in the chat. I think the chat seems to be working a bit better for everybody. Could you please give me your just one takeaway you're taking away from the session today? Just what has been the thing that you know has stuck out for you that you feel you can take away from the session into your work? So as we have those coming in, I will give you, Janat, the opportunity, maybe in just 2 minutes, to summarize some of the stuff that you're doing at Ghana Hubs Network. Janat, you can go ahead, but yeah, just 2 minutes to summarize about the Ghana Hubs Network work as we wait for people to type in the chat their key takeaway from today.
All right, thank you. Okay, so at Ghana Hubs Network, we are the umbrella organization that works with all the hubs in Ghana, and we work on bringing out policies that will regulate the works of innovation hubs in Ghana. And over the years, we have been supporting gender inclusion. We have the board that are so particular about gender inclusion in the innovation spaces that we have in Ghana here. And due to that, we were able to roll out the gender awareness program that involved over 23 innovation spaces in Ghana. And with that program, we were looking at having the innovation spaces design a policy that will include women and also disabled people in the programs that we organize at our various innovation spaces. That is being intentional about inclusion. So when we talk about inclusion, we can't just have conversations and discussions and we end it there. We should be practical about it. We should take it to our projects and programs that we implement at the various innovation space. So we made about 23 innovation hubs commit to that very policy, and also at their own location design policies that will be favorable for them to include women purposely in the programs that they organize, looking at activities or things that will interest women, and also being intentional about the support that they provide for women development, most especially in technology and digital skills. Again, we, in partnership with the GIZ, we are having the nationwide hackathon that is allowing young innovators and entrepreneurs to come up with an inclusive application that will serve as an app for all entrepreneurs, innovators, innovation spaces, and investors in Ghana. So when you are an investor from any part of the world and you come to Ghana, you are looking for an innovation space to work with, or even a startup to work with. It's mostly difficult because we have our startups and innovation spaces scattered across. Some of them do not even have strong online presence for you to just search and get them. So Ghana Hubs Network, as the umbrella body of all innovation space in Ghana, we are creating a system where we will have all innovators and entrepreneurs. So when you want to work with a startup, when you want to work with a hub, or even you are an investor and you would want to invest in a startup, you just go onto this application. You look at their profiles, the startup experience, the works that they've done in the previous years, their connection with partners internally and externally. You have all of the information about them, and you have the opportunity to select the space or startup that you want to work with. So this is also a platform that we are creating to ensure inclusion. And during this hackathon, as the gender director for the Ghana Hubs Network, we gave special support to women who were able to partake in the challenge, because the challenge was run across the country, and we are going to select the startup that will be able to come up with an inclusive hub, an inclusive application that will serve as a database for this very project. And so special packages were given to the females, and we will be having the grand finale, God willing, in August. And if that is done, we are also looking forward to award the women that will be able to get to the grand finale and possibly win a prize. So this is something that we are also doing to support inclusion in Ghana here. To end my talk, I would say that the more we include women, the more we make them innovative. And the more we make them innovative, the more we make them productive. And the more we make them productive, the more they develop the society. And so it is important that we all be intentional about women empowerment and gender inclusion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Janat, and thank you for ending on that note around being intentional. And I think that's really the core of this, right? The more we can equip ourselves as innovators, as ecosystem actors, the more intentional we can be in thinking about our design and thinking about our initiatives. And actually, one of the things I really admire about the Ghanaian ecosystem is the existence of the Ghana Hubs network and how strong it is. It's always been, we did research in different ecosystems back in 2018, and it always came out clearly that in Ghana, the hub leaders are trying to work more together, and it's clearly shown, and I think it's grown in these years, and it's certainly the way as a system we're going to be able to shift systems, because we can't do them as individual organizations. Stav, I wanted you to sort of, again, also just, I've typed a question into chat for everybody, but I wanted us as the speakers as well. I already did mine, but what are some of your key thoughts, sort of the things that have stuck out for you from the discussion today, things that you'll take away, maybe not even something that's new, but just something that's the thing that you leave with on your mind from the discussion today, or something that you want the participants to leave with top of their mind.
Well, two things come up. One also came up in the chat, which is the gender digital gap is not an Africa problem. It's a worldwide problem. It's very interesting if we look at it from a systematic perspective, that even the most kind of advanced economies, when it comes to digital, women are still behind. So this just goes to show how deep is the problem that we are facing. I think coming kind of from an external perspective, I think that Africa, some countries in Africa have an advantage because the digital ecosystems are relatively new. So you can actually solve problems in advance, kind of looking and learning from other ecosystems. And I think exactly what you said around what Jen has mentioned, that Ghana is a great example of how collaboration is able to tackle kind of problems head first. So I think that really resonates, and also kind of the comment that we heard from Greece, and also especially my experience in Israel, there is a lot of international learning that we can do, not only from success stories, but also from failures. And this is the second thing that I take from this discussion. I think both in the chat and our speakers kind of gave amazing examples of different solutions that worked or haven't worked. And I think to kind of brainstorm and share these examples is crucial. So we can learn from each other's successes, but also failures.
People are typing their key takeaways from this in the chat, so please do join. But there's a really good one from Kiko, which just makes me so happy, and I'm sure Stav, will make you very happy. His key takeaway is the importance of thinking of the gender divide issues as a systemic problem, and devise solutions that address those systemic problems in the ecosystem. I mean, you couldn't summarize it better than that, could you? Thank you so much, Kiko, for that, because that really just shows that we've, we've kind of achieved a bit of the objective there. Anyone else? I mean, there's a few more comments about main takeaways and points. The point about bringing women into tech, but also taking tech to them. So we need to bridge the gap from both sides. I think a lot of the time we're trying to build from one side and the other side keeps shifting further away. Maybe that's why we seem to see the gap increasing, but we need to have that approach where we are converging. The ecosystem is also adapting and changing and going towards making itself more suitable and supportive of women, and also the women are being brought in through skills and role models and everything else we're doing. So thank you for that. We are very, very, very short on time now. So if there's any more in the chat, please think about, keep typing them in. Everyone else, you can read them. I thank you so much for your attention today. It's been a lot. Typically with ATBN events, we always have too much sometimes. So it's been a lot, but I think it's really, for us, it was really important to root the discussion in data, in facts, in giving you practical examples from our work, in inviting a guest speaker, sort of locally within the ecosystem to share their perspectives, and also to have your perspectives come in. And, it's, again, in a digital world, we are doing our best to try and manage and bring all these aspects of the discussion in. I think it would have been much nicer if we were in person and we could do breakout groups and have coffees. But this is where we are at now. So I hope we've at least opened the door, like Stav said, to the thinking, to the way we're thinking. And I think, from Kiko's comment in the chat, for me, I feel like hopefully we've done that. I'm going to ask you to take the next 5 minutes. I know we have, let's make them 2-3 minutes. But we have a favor to ask from you. So as part of the AfriConEU, we're running these sessions. We will have one actually coming up around gender lens design. So it's specifically now going into how do we design a program. Now we've taken our systems thinking hats on and etc. So this is all part of a curriculum for hub leaders, for ecosystem actors. So there'll be a number of events, and we'll share the information on the screen on where to join AfriConEU and sign up, or join the ATBN newsletter so you can be informed. But basically, we want to evaluate how we are doing. Like I said, we're doing this online. We're trying to achieve quite a few objectives here in terms of taking you on a learning journey. And we want to learn and improve ourselves. So we have a very short survey that we want to ask you to fill out. It's better if we take a few minutes to do it while we are together now online. Otherwise, we all go back to our busy lives and it will get forgotten. But as we wait to just say our goodbyes, I'd kindly ask you to go to that link that has been typed in the chat and just take 2-3 minutes to evaluate us on the session today. Tell us how we've done, tell us how can we improve. We have 8 more sessions to go as ATBN. So we want, and lots more as AfriConEU, so we can learn and make things better next time. So please, if you could take the next 2 minutes to fill that out. And please don't leave after that, because we just have 2 things, quick things to sort of wrap up and share with you before we go. So right now, I expect everyone on the form. Stav and Janat, you'll get a separate form, which should have been sent directly to you as speakers. But the participants, if you could just fill that out, it should be quite quick and painless. But it really, really, really help us a lot in improving our work. If anyone is done, could you just type and say done in the chat so we know? Or if you need 1 more minute. Okay, all right. We will give 30 more seconds and then I'd like us to take a family photo. Please don't leave yet. Just to take a family photo. It's like I said, in an ideal world, this would all be maybe in person, but we love the digital world now. It allows us to have people in 35-degree weather, in 28-degree weather, all over the world. It also has its benefits. So if you could turn your cameras on, who is going to take the photo? Is Magda or do we have
me actually?
Marinella? Tanya, are you going to take it?
I will take it.
No, it's Georgiana.
Oh, sorry. Okay, great.
Yes. Okay, so give me one moment. Open your cameras and smile.
Hold on, I'm just going to, because I spotlighted us and I'll just remove the spotlight. So we are also part of the, yeah, so we should all be, are we all as just ordinary people now? Like I've removed the spotlights, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Smiles.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. If you need another minute or so to finish your form, please do. We will we'll wait for you, but anyone who needs to leave, thank you all so much for your participation and attendance today, and we hope to see you at the next session. We'll have on our screen some information for you to follow us, but that was already shared before as well, so all good. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Right. Dorcas, you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi. I guess Adiza's gone. She's probably not feeling well, but yeah, just a quick recap. I think we had everything. I mean, apologies, we weren't able to have the 15 minutes brief before, but we seem to have done okay even with that. So thank you for everything. Will you add, do you know, there's a folder where we're supposed to add everything like the slides, the photos and screenshots and stuff to the event. Do you know where to do that, or does it have to be Adiza who does that?
Yeah, I think the previous one I shared it with her for her to upload. So definitely I would have to compile or share with her for her to upload.
So I think basically you need to just do it in our Google Drive and then she can upload it to the AfriConEU one. But basically we need, let me go and have a look and see. We need all the slides and presentations. So I'll share with you now Stav's presentation. That needs to be added there. What we could do in our folders, we currently don't have a folder, you know, in our, let me share my screen. You've been in this folder, yeah? You know this folder?
Yes.
We currently don't have a folder for each event. Everything is still here. So if you could start putting them into the folder. So we should have 2 folders here with the gender, with the, what was it called?
Gender lens.
Gender lens innovation. What was the one before? It was purpose driven. So separate them, and then what you do is you share, once we have everything in the folder, photos, I think we need the presentations, and we need, so the gender lens innovation slides are all there. I think Gospert shared them with you. I think we already added those to the AfriConEU folder, right?
No.
I believe so. So these need to move. These need to go in. So yeah, just go in and organize this into their relevant folder. So we have evaluation forms, we have the slides, we have everything in one. And then these I can simply move them all into the relevant place in the Microsoft Teams for AfriConEU. You know, sort of speaker profiles, all of this stuff belongs to a certain event, a certain webinar. So why do we have 2 of this? I'm confused now. Is this the same one? So what did I already add? Yeah, I understand. Yeah, so just do that for us. And then I guess those guys aren't taking screenshots because we're not really doing that.
Yeah, I also took some screenshots as well. So
yeah, if you do, just add them in there.
Okay.
The one thing that got forgotten was the blog. What happened to the blog from last event? I'd found somebody, but Hadiza said she found somebody. Have they sent us anything?
Yes, they did. I think it was going to internal review until she hasn't been well. So I'll just prompt her about that and then see how best. If
Yeah, but she hasn't been well. This is from purpose-driven innovation. This is a month ago now.
Yeah.
So yeah, just we need to finalize that so that when we promote the next one, we have, and even then we can't just wait until we have an event to have stuff. We should be sharing like blogs, takeaways, and the person should then receive the video for this one. But I want to see what they've done on the previous one before we give them another one. Otherwise, I want to try my person.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Dorcas, for today. I think it went well, and there's just those final bits of submitting things and stuff. I just want to make sure we do them straight away, and it would be good if you know exactly where to put things so that it just, it gets easier when we just know, right? Like now we knew, okay, we need to do the surveys, we need to do this. So even the post, I think if we know what do we need to share, we need all the presentations together, we need them here, then we can just always do things really easily. But yeah, thank you for today. I think we got good participants and I think we got a good number. So yeah, on to the next one.
Bye.
All right, thanks, bye.
Thank you too, Eunice, bye.